Perfect. Well, welcome everyone to our next episode here, or next series, or a series event rather, on making that career pivot transition successful in your job search process. Obviously, during this recession, we've all faced adversity. It's been a difficult challenge, and finding maybe sometimes those opportunities. And as a student, what can you do to differentiate yourself as a candidate, and finding that next opportunity and being successful in finding that position? So what I'd like to do is just share my screen with you on my PowerPoint presentation on making that career pivot. And everyone could see my screen? I believe so. Perfect. Let's just go here and slideshow from the beginning. So career pivot. How to never lose focus. I always wanted to start there and make everyone be aware that, haste makes waste is a very known common statement. And in the process of finding a jobs in the midst of a recession, could be extremely challenging, and it's daunting and it's difficult. And being a graduate or someone that's going to graduate this May, for instance, it's probably the last thing that you would want to face as a hurdle is an economy that isn't, something that we're used to within a decade period of time, or a couple decades, where we've seen, a significant drop in the economy. And how are you still successful? So, most candidates, when they go about the process of actually searching for that job, they lose sight, they lose focus, and they only think about really those immediate factors that I need a position now. I need a position, yesterday. And I want that job ASAP. Everyone knows that you want the position as soon as possible, but part of that success also is, what are you doing to sort of hold yourself accountable and having an effective job search management along the way? And I want everyone to know, by just going in with that approach of just mass producing and mass mailing and emailing that resume across multiple portals isn't going to bring you success. It's only may cause more frustration, might cause more disappointment, because part of focusing on the job search is really focusing on your employers and what they are actually looking for from the candidates, and knowing what skills that you have that are being marketed to answer the employer's needs when applying for those positions. So a concept I want you to remember, we kind of talked about this over the course of this week, is remembering to focus, and tailor your documents to the employer's needs at all times. But you also want to be aware of not only the identity of tailoring your documents, but also, where are we within that job search geographically? What industries are being impacted by, say, an economy? Because these are things that are outside our control. The only things that we can control is our behaviors, right? Of our consistent behavior of applying for a position. But we need to be prepared and have the right tools in our job search that will make us successful in a career pivot to find an opportunity. And part of that is being aware of strategies to use, as well as what impacts and barriers are in front of you in a downturn economy. And we'll talk about that throughout the presentation. So I don't want you to just go out there thinking I need to consistently and continuously apply for jobs and sending out that same resume. No, you need to tailor that document, but you also want to be aware of, cognitively, you want to be aware of, right, conscientiously making that decision of, where am I applying to? Is this going to give me more, better, improved ROI, your return on your investment, by applying to certain employers, by applying to certain industries? And I'll give you some tips and strategies about that you're aware of after we go through this entire presentation. So, from career profiles, they mention on their site that during a recession or a downturn in the economy, the shotgun method becomes even more attractive to job seekers, and that just is a statement. Hey, we're sending out that mass mailing of our resume, our cover letter, and we're not putting in the efforts necessarily identifying our skills, identifying our experiences fully to match what the employer is looking for. And I know my colleague yesterday sort of mentioned this as well about uh, lining up your resume with what the employer is looking for in the job description. And that's so crucial. That's so important. The employer's telling you what they're looking for in a candidate. It's a matter of you making sure to address that need within the resume and the job search process. So I want you to take the time. That's very important in being successful in a career pivot, is actually stepping back for a moment and being reflective about where we are today as a whole in the economy, what industries are really moving and shaking within the economy, and then making sure that the skills that you're marketing hopefully will be transferable and aligned to those industries. And if not, maybe that means looking at other geographic opportunities as well. Um, so mass applications, that's definitely an arena that reiterating here that I want you to avoid. I want you to hone in. I want you to focus and zoom in on the content that you're actually developing within your resume, within your cover letter, to make sure that you're always addressing the needs of an employer. And part of that strategy, we'll talk about things like even a cover letter, and how you present your experience. How do you present your qualifications to an employer in a 15-20 second review of a cover letter or a 60-second review of a resume? And to give you an example, in a cover letter in paragraph 2, for instance, when we're talking about the details, the experiences, your qualifications, and the employer's needs, their requirements for the position. Sometimes it's easier to have a table and do a comparative analysis, or I'm sorry, a comparison between both of those requirements and your qualifications, and meeting and exceeding that employer's expectations through having a bullet point comparison. So those are ways to strategize, to think about in creating your cover letter, and also being aware of what you're putting into that resume as well, to make sure that you're addressing those employers' needs. And again, just because we're sending out more resumes, doing double the amount that we did previously, that doesn't mean that you're going to be successful at landing a position. And again, sometimes it could become more frustrating than anything, and we find ourselves disappointed with our ROI. I sent out 100 or 75 resumes, and I only got a bite from one, and it's not even really a company that I'm interested in. So that's when you have to do a reflection and say, all right, I need to step back and take a look. What's going on here? Is it my cover letter? Is it my resume? Or is it the jobs that I'm applying to? What else is impacting my opportunities of finding a position? Are these expired positions? Are these positions no longer relevant? Was there a big market shift in industry? So these are things that you want to be aware of. You want to be conscientious of when you're applying for jobs. That also will help in your career pivot. Do you want to be adaptable? Career adaptability, I think, is so important in the job search. Not only maximizing your job search efforts and effectively actually managing those job search efforts. Many times, I can tell you, my colleagues and I will meet with students from the career office, virtually or in person, and we're talking about the job search management, the strategies that you're actually utilizing in the search process. And sometimes we find out that, hey, the effort, the volume of applications isn't there. You applied to 12 or 13 jobs, and over the span of multiple months, why haven't I heard anything? Well, we could talk about the factors of, did you actually answer the employer's needs? But at the same time, is it the volume? Is there an issue with potentially of the amount of applications that you're sending out? And also, where are you sending out those resumes? You get better ROI. I know my colleague Judy a lot of times will emphasize on a graph and chart talking about job search strategies and where do you get better results, your return on your investment. And she has a great grid picture of job opportunities, and you get better ROI through your network vine than you would through a third-party job search engine website like Indeed, Monster, Career Builder. And if your focus is only in there, then you're really not going to have a successful pivot. in a downturn economy to find an opportunity, because guess what? Everyone else is on there. And there's a reason why these job search engine websites are tier one job search engine websites. Yes, they have a lot of opportunities, but guess what? The supply is ample. There's a ton of folks that are seeking opportunities on those sites. So what do you think is going to happen to your outcome, your return on your investment? It's going to diminish. You're not going to have the same opportunity. So you also want to be aware of what's my ROI by taking a certain path in my job search. You want to make sure that you convey your value proposition in the interview, in your resume, especially as well when you're applying for a job. Making sure that you actually have the skills for the position, or that you're not only meeting or exceeding the expectations of the position in order to get a call back for an interview. And if there's still limited search results, well, that's when you have to take a step back and be reflective and be adaptable and be pliable in the search process, because when you fall and fail, you need to get back up and continue to find success. And later on in my presentation, you'll hear a message from someone else that sort of has that same belief and approach to finding success, and especially in a career pivot. So take stairs that are less traveled. Know the different branches and avenues that you have. Many students will ask us, Mick, hey, what's the best method for me to find a job? I could tell you one that automatically sticks out, and many of us would, and that's networking. We want you to invest in a basket of eggs where you're going to ultimately get better returns, and obviously network as much as you can. Heck, even in a pandemic, if you have opportunity to grab a cup of Joe and you're standing in line 6 feet away, I'm still all for networking. Obviously that traditional approach of exchanging business cards might be not the best reward for you at this time, but nonetheless, I want you to still approach any networking opportunity that you have, whether it's in person, whether it's virtual, to gain better traction, to find better results. And that also means attending events virtually. Each and every one of you should hopefully leverage those Career Tuesday opportunities that we have. Attend virtual sessions with employers through Handshake, even employer events directly through companies' websites that are hosting now. There's just a ton of different events for you and opportunities for you to engage with employers. And you should do that, because that is networking. That is going to drive success for you. Leverage LinkedIn in a pivot as well. Reach out to alumni. Create customized messages. We sort of talked about that as well yesterday, to alumni that maybe there's an industry that you're interested in, and someone from UConn's working there. You both were finance majors. You love to be an investment banker. Someone is in that arena that's a recent graduate. Reach out to them, and you can do that through Handshake. You can do that through LinkedIn, and that will help build your network. And hopefully might give you more insight about the industry and career. And I know that's, again, something that Mark Turek sort of talked about is, you have peer-to-peer contact here. You can, get more insight from folks that have already gone through an internship, that have started in that leadership development program, and ask them, other alumni want to see you successful as well in your career. So that's, I think, a crucial part of your success as well, is making sure to leverage those items effectively. LinkedIn and Handshake, they should be one of your key strategies in finding opportunities, and obviously networking and using that to expand your network opportunities. Parker Dewey, it's another recent platform that we sort of launched here at the university. And if you're looking for those short-term micro internships, especially for students now that say, hey, those traditional internship opportunities are just not there for me right now, what can I do? Well, Parker Dewey is another avenue for you to take to obtain a micro internship opportunity. It could be a 10-day assignment, 3-4 weeks. It's based off of a project, and they're paid. And guess what? You may also be end up working for a Fortune 500 employer on a project for them. So I would definitely encourage you to leverage this as a resource, Parker Dewey. Again, attending Career Tuesdays, each and every opportunity. I can't tell you how many employers within our events, even though they're live and they're recorded, the employers will tell you, the HR representatives, the hiring managers that attend, here's my email in the chat box, contact me. take advantage of that. It's just a phenomenal way for you to build rapport, your interpersonal communication skills. At the same time, find out about potential opportunities with the company that you may be very interested in working for. And I want you to think about employers not necessarily only by industry. When we think about companies like Raytheon Technologies, we automatically assume aerospace manufacturing industry. Well, there's other opportunities within a Fortune 500 employer, such as Raytheon Technologies or Collins Aerospace, right? They also will need accounting and finance majors. They also will need logistical supply chain managers or engineers working there. So think about careers holistically and knowing that your skills are transferable across different industries, not just direct ones. Hey, I'm a finance major. That automatically, means I have to go work for an investment firm, a PE firm, a hedge fund. I want to become an investment banker. Well, you have other avenues and paths as well that you may find great success in a career in, and you want to leverage those opportunities as well. So attending virtual events with employers, sometimes companies will list those directly on their site as well. So I want you to check in periodically as well, or say more on a regular basis with companies, even again, like Raytheon Technologies, other Fortune 500 employers that interest you, because they will also post on their site information on internships. They might do a virtual evening session to learn about careers with their company and maybe career paths associated with someone that might be starting out in different entry points within an organization. So definitely attend those events. Piggyback that as well with virtual events through Handshake, because it's just another method for you to learn more about an employer and find out if you're actually interested in those companies as well. That will help you strategize. That will help you make a successful pivot in your career and see other opportunities that maybe not on face value you saw before, because you really have to kind of dive deeper into understanding that employer and what they actually do and the other benefits they have as far as jobs go besides what we see on face value. So I want you to apply on employers' websites. That actually is a better return on your investment as well. Again, networking is key. Handshake is key. LinkedIn is important. Parker Dewey is absolutely important as well as Career Tuesday. But actually applying on careers web pages for employers directly will also give you better ROI. So definitely do that. Make a list of companies that you're interested in, but also be thinking back in your mind here, where are the jobs right now in this type of economy? And I'm going to give you some insight about that as we move along with the presentation. I want you to be aware of contacting recruitment firms. Again, these are not firms necessarily that I'm saying to endorse here, but I want you to be aware rather that there are employment firms as well, even in a recession, a downturn economy, that will sort of help you, find opportunities. That's important. So McIntyre Group, there's a ton of them out there. A.R. Mazzata, Jay Morrissey, CFS, Creative Financial Services, Robert Half Accounting and Consulting Services. You have just a plethora of options. I want you to be aware of this path as well. And the reason I say this, why not? Leverage an opportunity where someone else is actually looking for a position for you. Finding a job, it's a full-time job. It truly is. So be cognizant of that and treat these contacts as well as another engagement of an interview. They have the golden key, if you will, to provide you with access to opportunities with it could be, again, a Fortune 500 firm. And the reason is, the companies, these Fortune 500 firms will keep going back to recruitment firms is because they like the quality of the candidates that are finding opportunities through those recruitment firms. They are doing the initial screening of candidates, conducting interviews as well to find out more about you and the potential fits for opportunities that they have. So be aware of this as a path and avenue and channel to find success as well of finding employment. I also want you to be aware of CT Hires. It's local to Connecticut. It's a job search bank specifically through the Department of Labor, where Connecticut employers could seek out Connecticut employees. So moving on in your career, even after you graduate from the university, be aware of this job search site. Besides just third-party top-tier sites like Indeed, Simply Hired, or Career Builder, Monster, the list goes on. And it's not a top tier. It's not a tier one search engine site. So it's not going to get the same volume, but that's also to your advantage in being successful in a career pivot. Why? The reason is, again, it's local based employers for Connecticut, but the jobs on there and the amount of volume of candidates, the supply won't nearly be as much as Indeed or Simply Hired or Career Builder. That I guarantee you. Yukon Husky Career Mentor Network, definitely take a look into that. I believe finding guidance, especially when you're doing that, whether it's soul searching in your career and your aspirations of where you want to go, it's always great to be able to connect with someone that's from a similar industry potentially that you're interested in, and engage with them, build that network. And maybe you want to consider starting a business. We also have resources on that, so definitely contact us. We're more than happy to discuss that with you. I want you to also search within your network. First and foremost, I think that's so important, starting there. So it means with family, friends, their friends, aunts, uncles, right? You have to start with your inner circle and work your way out, faculty, staff, peer to peer, and start to engage and ask about maybe those opportunities or industry insights to start the conversation, to let people know that, hey, I'm looking for an opportunity. I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for an internship. That's going to create traction for you. That's crucial. Start with your network first. If I were to give you a circle chart here or a pie chart, the biggest, quantify your efforts, 85% of those jobs. Again, this was something that Forbes published recently this past year. 85% of jobs are found through networking. How significant is that? Tremendous. And again, I will tell you all day long, all paths and avenues to finding a career is appropriate, and you should do that, but also know your ROI is highest through your network find. Focus and concentrate on this effort. I want you to be systematic in your efforts, just as if you were, going for your runs, maybe on a weekly basis, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you take your 30 or 45-minute jog. Guess what? Job search management, being successful in a career pivot, you need to treat it as a full-time job. I want you to utilize things like Microsoft Excel, journal. Whether you want to journal as well, you can do that, but you should create multiple Excel tabs for yourself. Your first tab might be something through networking and actually identifying key fields within networking. Using Handshake as a job application. What jobs have I applied for? Did I follow up on those opportunities? How long has it been since I applied? Career Tuesdays events. Each and every one of these topics covered, you should have a tab for. That will help you drive your success, and it will keep you motivated to be successful in your career pivot. This is just sort of an example of what that may look like. Maybe you'll create drop-down fields and being systematic. Follow-up dates. What positions did you apply for? Who did I actually contact there? What was the role? And again, then you could filter that by comments, maybe your next steps. What action items are you going to take? This is going to help hold you accountable to be successful in your job search efforts. And again, finding a job is a full-time job, but the more you do towards that goal, and the more you're focused, the more successful you will be. I wanted to bring up this data on vehicular miles traveled during COVID in 2020. Why am I even bringing this up? And it's the reason I want you to, the reason I'm bringing this up is I want you to think about what's going on in our economy. All right. Travel has decreased significantly over in the economy, and, Alberta, Canada, 54% down when it comes to vehicle miles traveled in that area. The state of Iowa, 40% down. Some areas even more than that. That makes a big paradigm shift in how things work in the economy. And to give you an example of that, when we think about travel, what do we need to fuel our vehicles? We need gas. That's right, we need gas. What happened to gas during this downturn economy? In the petro industry, gas prices dropped to 89 cents a gallon. I can't believe I'm saying this. 89 cents a gallon in 2020. We haven't seen prices like this for over 2 decades, and that was in Kentucky. That made a big shift in the industry. Maybe you're a student going to become a petroleum engineer, and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to break ground into a great industry, awesome pay, great benefits, working for Chevron or Shell. Guess what? It was a different picture in 2020 for the petro industry. However, what industries did pick up in transportation? Even niche markets, things like logistical supply chain managers. Um, these are the types of careers you want to be aware of, and what's going on around you when the economy goes down and things are shifting. What's being impacted? Where are those jobs geographically? What's our strong suits in the state? What about other states? I want you to start thinking about jobs holistically, not only to what your skill level and the things you're graduating with on paper, like a finance major or accounting major, but where can I actually take that skill set now and be mobile in my job search effort? Um, and lo and behold, the trend in 2020, logistical supply chain went through the roof. There was 49% increase in job growth in logistical supply chain management from June 2019. On the other hand, when we're talking about petroleum engineers, which you would say that's a highly technical skilled job. Wow, we really need folks to do that work. Well, guess what? There was 107,000 jobs lost that vanished in the US in oil, gas, and chemicals industry between March and August. So what do you do? This is how I want you to think about and identifying skills. Where else can I take my skill sets to be more mobile, to be more versatile in my search? And even thinking about if you were a petro engineer, what about the skills that I developed in my program? And now else can I take those? That's extremely important. So you want to focus on the job markets and employers, and not only just searching for a job. It's more than just being effective in job search management. It's actually knowing about the labor market. So LMI, I want to talk to you about that. Focus on growth industries and specializations in our markets. I think is very crucial. So to give you some insight, first start with the state. Think about Connecticut, for instance, right? Home. What are our top industries? Real estate, finance, professional business services, manufacturing. These are our key industries in Connecticut. Where can I find this information if I'm a student? I want you to look at the Connecticut Department of Labor's website, the LMI, Labor Market Information. How awesome is this feature? I mean, you're able to conduct a search and look at the fastest growing occupations in Connecticut. You could do a 10-year projection of where is our economy going? What are the trends and where we're moving towards? We could look at occupations with declining employment in the state to help you hone in and focus on your search. This is the back end work. And guess what? You can do this for each and every state in the United States. And you can do it by searching by your actual educational level as well to conduct a thorough search. So I want you to see what that looks like. What's hot and what's not in the job market here to the right. Which jobs are actually growing in the state of Connecticut? What's the percentage change of growth for that state, for that position within that state? If you want to find out more details about a job, you could click on Career One Stop. That's through the Federal Department of Labor, and actually will give you insight about that occupation. So what do I need as far as education? What's the pay rate look like? What's the job market look like for this position across the United States? And it will actually color code each and every state for you in that search effort. So I want you to be conscientious, cognizant of this, and using this resource, LMI, Labor Market Information. This is just a picture as well of what that might look like from careeronestop.org. Again, looking at Connecticut occupations with declining employment as well. Here's a list: editors, insurance underwriters, labor relations specialists, technical education and teachers. So these are industries right now in Connecticut that are being impacted, and it gives you insight. What are the volume of jobs projected to drop? What's that pay look like? What's the educational requirements? Again, so use this as a resource. I also want to just play this video here for us on some words of wisdom when it comes to your search and being successful. And it is from our former First Lady, Michelle Obama. So I'm just going to hit play for us.
But you got to make that choice. And let me just share this little secret before I end. As someone who was hired and managed hundreds of people, whether it was during my time as a lawyer, as a teacher, as a university, even when I was first year, I never once asked someone I was interviewing to explain a test score or a grade insight. I have never once made a hire just because someone wants to hire are you reliable?
Perfect. So with that message, I always, I want to just, let's see here, one more slide. As far as your career pivot to be successful, I want you to remember that no one cares more about your future than you. And it's up to you to take on that challenge to be successful, to invest in yourself, to schedule an appointment with the School of Business, the Career Development Office here in-house, to drive your success further, to start thinking outside the box and building grit to be successful. And that truly does depend on you. But you could start that process by emailing us at recruit@business.uconn.edu. If you have any questions about this or other presentations we have, simply reach out. We are here for you to drive your success. Thank you, everyone. And until next time, I'm Mick, and I'll see you soon.